guys, Creative Katie, Karen Burchill here. Welcome to my channel. Today I am going to show you how to make a mini art journal starting with an envelope, and we are going to be doing some gel printing. I absolutely love doing some mini art journals using envelopes, and I have a couple videos, and I will put a link to those in the top right hand corner where the eye is. So we are using just plain ordinary envelopes. And basically this is going to make the cover of what will be an art journal that I'm going to give to somebody, and they will get to finish it off. So I am going to start, and I'm going to cover the cover of this with a napkin. Now this napkin is from Ninny's Napkin, and you can find the link in the description box below. It's called Dragonflies, and it is a cocktail napkin, so it's on the smaller size, but it has these beautiful dragonflies on it that are kind of gold embossed. Now when you peel off the label, or the one layer, sorry, it even has a print, so I'm interested in using that. It's going to add some interest to yet another project. And because the dragonflies on this one are all over, it really doesn't matter where or how I situate this. I can turn it this way and that way. It's not going to matter. If the napkin that you're using, if it matters and where you want certain things, you're going to take time to figure that out as well. Now, the envelope that I'm using here is buff colored. It's not white. And I chose it because I wanted this to look a little bit vintagey. I didn't want the stark white, but again, that's a artist's choice. If you wanted it white, it could have been on the white background. I wasn't sure how well it would adhere to the envelope, so it's a bit of an experiment that, and I'm going to take you along for the ride. So I'm cutting off the excess here before I glue it down. And I folded it because I am going to be folding that, and there's the front and there's the back of our art journal. I decided that I wanted some script peeking through, so I grabbed my script stamp, and I'm just putting a little bit of that with the black archival ink down, and I'm drying it before I go and put any wet medium on it right away. It is permanent, but it does take a little time to permanently set. So I'm liking how the script is peeking through. You could use music script, you could put other things. I could have put color on the envelope as well underneath the napkin. So I'm looking at the napkin and I'm picking out the colors. There's this yellow green and there's turquoise. So I'm using the same colors, and I'm going to paint the inside of the envelope. Those are going to be the inside flaps of the journal, and I'm making sure that tab is on the bottom. The tab of the envelope is going to turn into pockets. Now I'm just trying it. I'm going to use some yellow with the yellow green and the blue, and that's going to be the color. Now I'm putting the color on the inside of what is going to be the cover before I glue the napkin down, because I didn't want the color to get on the napkin. When you're working on both sides, you need to allot time to dry in between and clean your surface up. With the flap, there's glue on there. You want to make sure that if you are planning to have that pocket on the inside cover, you don't let it dry wet and closed. When you put the paint on, it is going to dampen it a little bit, so you want to make sure that you leave it open so that it does dry and you can use it as a pocket or a flap. So giving it a quick dry, and then I put some of the darker color on there. I wanted to build in contrast. You could have just left it all the same color and that would have been fine too. Again, artist choice. So I grabbed this, I believe it's the Tangled Vine or Jungle Vines stencil. Love, love, love this one. Got it in the 12-inch, which was what I'm using here, and the 6-inch. It is such a versatile one. I'm putting the paint on the makeup sponge. I'm using the darkest of the paints here, and I'm just sponging it on. And I'm showing you that when you're stenciling with a makeup sponge, it's dry. You don't have globby paint on there. So I just wanted those vines, kind of a background. I thought that would go good with the dragonflies that I had on the front, that kind of feel. And I'm going to use these same colors throughout the creation of the entire art journal. So now that that is dry, I'm going to edge it with the darker color, with the makeup sponge, and get all that stuff done, clean my surface, decide to bring that script that I have on the front into the inside cover. Remember, this is one cohesive piece, so you want the different pages and the different sides of the cover to work together. I'm just edging this with the makeup brush and black archival paint. I just want it to stand out a little bit more. And I'm going around here. I didn't think there was enough contrast or enough edging as before. As I'm going, I'm figuring out and solving the problems as it goes and what I like. Now I'm finally ready to glue this dragonfly napkin down. Now there's a line that goes around, green line that goes around the outside of the napkin. I decided that I'm going to leave that on the bottom. I thought that would be a nice detail. Again, with the napkin, you can cut pieces of the napkin out and create your own composition as well. And I'm sure I will do one of those as well. I absolutely love making these, be they mini notebooks out of these envelopes, or this one is going to be an actual art journal. I'm using my Liquitex Basics Fluid Matte Medium, which is my choice medium for decoupaging down napkins and tissue paper. Loving how the script is peeking through, nice little detail. It's not perfectly smooth, and I am happy about that because the texture that this gives, it feels like leather, and it just feels good. Now I'm cutting it out. You want to be careful that you don't cut the envelope. If you cut the sides of the envelopes, you will actually create a pocket that you can use if that's what you want. But I don't want to do that, so I need to be careful. And actually I did clip it here a little bit. It opened up, so I ended up having to go back and glue it shut because I didn't want it opened. But it's an option. And again, you'll see me probably do one with that variation. I'm grabbing sepia here, archival ink, and using the makeup brush and going around and over top. I'm really trying to make this look more vintage. It's picking up the texture that was created when I glued down the napkin, loving that too. And you can see the nooks and crannies in that. It's just making it look all the more vintage. Now I'm using a little bit of black on here as well. Need to add a little more glue there in the corner. Now I have some pieces of this napkin, and I'm thinking, you know, I am going to cut some of these dragonflies out and I'm going to glue them on the inside cover. So bring whatever's on the outside cover to the inside cover. So I am taking a couple of these dragonflies and I'm going to water cut them. Now this napkin is super strong and it was giving me a bit of a struggle to water cut it. So I ended up actually taking scissors and cutting it, but either or. Now for the inside pages, because I want to turn this into an art journal, I am using mixed media paper. And I just ripped out some pages from my 7x10 Canson mixed media because I needed the 7 inches. When I fold it, it's the perfect measurement for this envelope. And I'm not giving you measurements because you can use any size envelope. So I'm just cutting it to size and folding the pieces. I believe I end up with 12 sides to this little mini art journal. So I'm just making sure that everything's going to fit there correctly as I'm thinking about what my next step is going to be. I want to put some color on these pages to get it started, kind of the first coat of color. So I decide to grab out my 5x7 gel plate. And that's what's right here. I could have grabbed my 8x10, and I have decided also to just keep the same colors that I've had, and I'm adding Prussian blue as just a darker shade. And so every page I'm going to do with these same colors, different combinations, different blends of them, just to get some different backgrounds, but all in the same color tone. So I grabbed some tags that I had there to pull off some of the paint. I wasn't really set up to gel print, so I didn't have my excess papers where I'm going to collect everything, but I grabbed some papers and I keep just pulling off the excess through the stencil. I'm keeping this really simple. Basically, I'm doing one layer on each of the sides of this paper, this mixed media paper. It's not intended to be a completed page. The goal is to have this whole selection of pages, all with something in the background that the person who gets this little booklet can use as a jump start. Now you could have gel printed different colors on every piece of paper as well. That's completely up to you. I just wanted to keep it simple and keep it all in that same color zone. So again, these colors, I have the turquoise, yellow green, and Prussian blue. And I'll put a list of the stencils that I use here in the description box below if I can find them on Amazon. So starting with a journal that has color on it already sometimes helps when you have that fear of that blank page, because you don't have a blank page. You have some pattern, some color, some design already. So once these are dried, I'm just folding them, and I decided in the middle one I want this print. I really like this print. I think it would make an awesome full size art journal page should the person choose to do that. So I'm clipping this to the spine with a mini bulldog clip, and I'm just stapling. Now you could sew this with a sewing machine, you can stitch it. If that's something you know how to do, I'm going the quick and easy. Now I'm just folding this, making sure that everything lays perfectly flat. So we have all the pages. Now, remember those dragonflies that I cut out from the excess? I decided that I was going to glue them down on there. We'll be coming right back. I am going to glue some of those dragonflies down. But first, I'm still not really happy with the cover, and I decided to take that Prussian blue and I put it on this Tim Holtz sponge, and I'm just edging it with that blue just to bring the blue into the front. And I'm liking this better. Every time it's a step. And then I decide I'm just going to edge all these papers. Now, typically this is something I do at the end, but I'm thinking, I'm going to do this and then that would be done. Should the person just want to leave that, or they can do their own edging when they finish the art journal pages. So when you're setting up a journal for somebody, you can do as little or as much as you want. Some pages could be more done than others. Prussian blue is one of my all-time favorite colors. Just edging on the flaps, the pockets that we have here from the envelope flap. Now, as everything's coming together, I want all the elements, the sides to work together. Grab my Secura glaze and just putting some line work around the edge. I think if I did another one like this, what I might do is do each page, do a different napkin. So in the background or parts of napkins. Splattering with some gold paint. Now these dragonflies that I cut out from the napkins, I decided that I'm going to glue them down on the inside flaps, inside cover. And I'm really liking how they show with that background. So I have one more of these napkins because you always get two from Ninny's Napkins. And I think I'm going to do something where I create a background in those tones and then cut out a lot of the dragonflies and use them. You can't see from here or in the video, but these dragonflies have little bits of gold on them. They truly are spectacular. And then I decide I'm going to splatter each and every page. Now, this would have been a whole lot easier had I done this before they were folded and stapled and put into the book. But as it was, when I did each page, I had to do each page, dry it, and then turn that. So here's what I'm just going to gift somebody. I did a bunch of stamped dragonflies, butterflies, feathers, things with wings, little embellishments that the person who gets this will be able to use should they want to, or they could add it to their stash and go a totally different theme. Then I printed off some of my sentiments from my sentiment pack 1, 2, and 3. I shrunk it down so there were 6 on a page, and I cut a whole bunch and just put them in there so they can decide what sentiment they want and what focal image and finish the pages. Stay tuned for some close-ups of the finished pages and of this mini art journal made with an envelope. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram at Creative Katie. Give me a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Ask me a question. As always, keep creative.